Some weeks, manifesting feels deep and transformative. And other weeks, it's as simple as writing the same sentence over and over and over and over, like I'm doing here, 33 times in a row for 3 days straight. It's called the 3x33 method, and this week, it's my way of keeping energy moving and my focus locked in on the life I'm creating. Hey y'all, welcome back to Manifesting Monday. This week, I don't have a smart girl rule to share with you guys, just a real raw update and a technique that I'd like to share. So, I've been thinking a lot about manifesting, obviously, and this is week 4 of Manifesting Monday. So, it's been officially a month since we've been in our manifesting bag. And I realized that, manifesting doesn't always have to be this big dramatic display of something. It doesn't always end up being some big moment that happens. Sometimes manifesting is simply just about the small, repetitious daily things and the little things that are done on a regular basis that eventually lead up to something grand. Those things that we do and say to ourselves on a daily basis that end up actually shifting our reality. And so for that, my check-in, last week was okay. I had a lot of moments where I was able to stay in the place of power in the good feelings and where I was able to intentionally keep my focus on the good things, keep my focus on the things that I do have, keep my focus on the things that I do desire. And then I'm not gonna lie, there were also some days where, I had my little slipbacks and couldn't help feel, the weight of the things that don't exist in my reality yet. I think what I'm starting to learn now more than anything is just that when I do have those little falters and those slipbacks, like I don't have to allow those moments to take over. I don't have to stay there and I don't have to let them stop me from continuing to still do the thing that is leading to that shift in reality. So, raw update on what it is for me. Right now, my two main focuses and the two main things that I am manifesting are replacing my income and, of course, finding a home for me and my littles. And it's interesting because some days, like, that feels really close and I can see it and I can get all in the feels about it, right? And allow myself to get really excited about it. And then there are other days where, to be honest, it really genuinely just feels so far away. Sometimes it feels impossible, even like, how or when are these things ever going to happen? And then, of course, these are also the things that sort of send me into that grief loop. When you lose someone close and when you are actively grieving, there's something called ruminating thoughts. And this is where you constantly are playing certain things in your mind on a loop. Or there's the thing that always takes you back to the thing. And so when it starts to feel like what I want is super far away, or seemingly impossible, or it just doesn't look very clear, I can't help but to always think like how I ended up here in this situation in the first place. And, if it weren't for the fact that he died, and if it weren't for and so it pulls me back in. And as a somatic body worker, like, I know, probably I should know better than anybody, that our bodies do hold these memories and like our bodies do keep the score. And so I recognize that the looping of thoughts and that the rumination, it's all just muscle memory. It's something that I've done over the course of a year and a half of grieving that I'm trying to now break out of and break away from in this like second to third year of moving through this loss. And so recognizing it is always important. I feel like better than anything, right? When we know better, we do better. So at least I'm able to have that awareness of it. But like I said, I don't let myself stay there. And so this week in particular, I am trying to do a quick manifestation, or I'm working on a quick manifestation. So if you guys are not new here and you've been hanging around the channel for a while, a few years back, we ended up going on a family vacation, and it was several days. I think we went for about 4 days or something, but we went to Vegas. This was before we did our move to Vegas, right? And I ended up paying for that vacation all by myself. In fact, Sean didn't even know that we were going on the vacation. I just kept kind of hinting at it and talking about it. But I used a manifestation technique, and lo and behold, exactly what I had asked for, I had received. And so I wanted to share really quickly like a story about that. So this is one of the books or like journals that I use for writing down different stuff and for writing manifestations. But I thought it was timely because when I opened this yesterday, I happened to see a little post-it note that I wrote before that trip, which is funny because it's just randomly tucked off into the pages of this book. But I remember seeing to do this on a YouTube video that I was watching. And you guys, this probably had to be back in like 2018 or 2019, right? So, anyways, you had to write on one side of the post-it like what you currently have, where you currently are, whatever that is, whether we're talking about money or we're just talking about like a space in which you are or a mindset perhaps. But you write what it currently is on one side, and then you were to write what you desired on the other side. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not even really sure what you were supposed to do with it after that. I think you were just supposed to like keep it on you. I think I kept this in my wallet for X amount of time. But on the first side, it says, I have $252.17, which is not enough for our family trip and bills. So I wanted to be able to make sure that the bills were paid up for the month that we were going to be traveling and taking a trip, and that we had enough money to book the trip and have a good time. And that was like my major like intentions and goals for that trip. I didn't want to just book a trip and then we get there and can't do nothing. Like we had 4 kids and then the 2 of us. So for a family of 6, I wanted to be able to book it and then go have a good time. And so in order to do that, I needed an extra $1,000. So I wrote this on 12/18/2019, and like the date is on the paper. So on the other side, it says, I have $1,000, which is more than enough for our family Vegas trip and bills. Grateful, powerful, happy, grateful. Which are, I guess, the feeling spaces that I was supposed to be in. But anyway, I remember writing this down. I put it inside of the journal, set it and forget it. But there's a manifesting technique that I also did alongside writing that down, and it's called the 3x33 method. I've done this multiple times, and it's radical, the results, because these things really do manifest. And so I don't know all of the scientific logistics and all of those things behind it. In my mind, and as I'm doing this technique, what I feel like the most is that it's because you show up present. You show up and we're pouring our actual heartfelt energy into something. I am a firm believer that when you write it down on real paper with a real pen, like that matters, right? When we take something out of our head and out of our heart and we put it on paper, that matters. Journaling is therapeutic. It matters. It moves the energy. And so if manifesting or like speaking those things into existence is sending vibrations out, right? Like if how we think and how we feel, the things that we think about, if these things really expand, then writing has to be a really potent tool. So the 3x33 method is where you get into your place of power, you get in that feeling place, and you write from the present tense about what it is that you're desiring or what it is that you're trying to call in. So for example, in this case for my trip, I think I may have wrote something like, I am so happy and grateful now that I have 1,000 extra dollars for our family trip. And so you would write that 33 times for 3 days, and you set it and forget it, believing that it's going to happen. And honestly, within the 3 days, I had received $1,000 extra dollars. It wasn't like I got some big check for $1,000, but I had some sales come in that maybe otherwise wouldn't have come in. I didn't market for them or anything like that. I think I had a gift that somebody ended up gifting to me, like just over, during that time it was nearing the Christmas holiday. So it was like just a random gift of money that somebody had gave me. So we're not getting specific about how the thing is going to come in or what's going to happen, but just the fact that we want the thing. So this week, I've gone back to the 3x33 method, and today will be my third day. So I've been writing something special that I am trying to call in. And so today will be my third day doing that. But I wanted to share that with you guys just in case you've never heard of it before and you needed a new manifesting technique to try. I encourage you to think of something that you want, and maybe this starts on a small scale. Maybe this is not, the big move, that we're trying to make, right? Like going from something to nothing, like super fast, like, but being realistic. Maybe it is extra groceries this week, right? Or maybe it is, enough time to have self care because you have such a busy schedule. Like starting really small, what is one thing that you want to call in? And then maybe using that 3x33 method to see how that works for you. I feel like sometimes the simplest things, like we discredit them, right? Or like that's too easy or that's too stupid or whatever. But even though this one is simple, it really does lock in what it is that you are desiring and what it is that you are wanting. And for at least the time that it takes you to write something down 33 times in a row, you are focused and fully present and honed in on what it is that you want. So my intention for this week is to keep it light, keep doing what I've been doing, but to keep it light and to make sure that I come to the pages and start putting those things on paper. I'm a really firm believer in scripting and just writing stuff down. So a journal is the place where you can get as delulu as you want to, because you're just writing stuff down. You can get all completely fictional if you want to, and just start writing all kind of stuff down. And so I think that that's where I'm going to land it this week. I think we have to remember too that just manifesting doesn't have to be heavy, and it doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be hard work. Sometimes it can be done with ease, and it can be simple, and it can be the simplest things that we do. But the biggest one is just showing up for the cause. And so that's it this week, you guys. I wanted to share how I've been doing this week, of course, because this is also accountability for me. But I also wanted to share that 3x33 method with you. And if you have something that you're manifesting and you happen to try the 3x33 method, let me know in the comments how that works out for you, if it works out for you. And, if you dare, what it is that you are manifesting. Thank y'all for hanging with me this Monday, and happy manifesting. I'll see you guys next week. Bye. Are you gone?